The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to another episode of the Icons of Real Estate podcast, where we highlight top professionals who are making waves in the industry. I'm your host, Karen Roberts, and today I'm excited to welcome Jessica Klikach. She is a Shuswap salmon arm Sycamore real estate specialist. That's a bit of a mouthful, even for me as a Brit. So forgive me if I pronounce that wrong. With a passion for real estate since childhood, she has renovated over 15 properties and brings expertise in design, finance, and investment. With over a decade in the field, Jessica excels in tenancy laws, short-term rentals, and risk management. So let's dive into her journey and expert insights on lifestyle-driven real estate. Welcome to the show, Jessica.
Thank you so much, Karen.
So let's start with your journey. I mean, your journey in real estate started at, 5 years old with your father's drafting table, I've read. And so what about that experience sparked your passion for the industry?
It was, he was a single father raising me. So he worked a lot of nights and he did a lot of side projects and he would design people's houses and he did a lot of commercial during the day and residential at night. And of course, it was just him and I. So he kept me entertained by helping him pick out colors and learning about design while he was designing people's homes. And back then, they used to have these little numbers that you would scratch over to imprint onto the drafting documents because there was no AutoCAD, there was no digital. And so that's where it all started. And then I fell in love with design starting then. And he was very simplistic, but I love complicated.
You found your niche. You found your niche.
Yeah. So that was the beginning.
Awesome. And so you've worked across various facets of real estate, from design to finance. So how has that sort of diverse experience shaped your approach to helping your clients?
Well, I really think it's important that no matter what, the continued path of learning in any career. And I think a good realtor is really in a leadership position, and we're information provisioners for our clients. So the higher understanding that we have of real estate, being the finance, the insurance, the building, risks to look for, we are advisories for our clients. We can give them good information and maybe point out things for them. And I think that we need to continue growing. And too many times, I think we just focus on the transaction and in the same, getting it down the line, get the offer, get the lead, get the offer, get it down the line. But really where people are drawn to us is for our knowledge and is for our leadership. For one of the biggest decisions they're going to make in their life, it's up to us to help give them the skills they need to make educated decisions. And that results in continued business, referrals down the line. When you give people that sense of security that they feel educated enough to spend $1 million, $500,000, doesn't matter what it is.
Well, that's a really holistic approach to it, because you're covering all the areas that they need. So that then you're more qualified to actually help them in all areas of it.
Absolutely. And as a professional, that's what we're there to do. And you maintain a stoic approach, you can't get involved, you can't get emotional, even though I cry every time they cry, and I try really hard not to. And there's usually tears every week from the stress, right? But it's important as much as we can to remove ourselves so that we can see it from that outside perspective, so that they can have unbiased information, so that they can make educated choices. And, most people don't move a lot in my area. And I'm around these giant lakes in the interior British Columbia where we've got risks you wouldn't even imagine. We've got risks of grizzly bears. We've got forest fires. We've got flooding. We've got all of these things that could happen during a transaction. How do we make sure the contract's written to protect them? How do we prepare them? They're moving from the city and they have this idealistic lake community they're moving to, and I have to explain, no, the bears walk down the streets. Like it's a little different. You got to think about your lifestyle. You're like, no, you don't just leave the kids in the yard. No. you got to think about these things and advise people that it's beyond just their dream. Prepare them for the lifestyle and tell them how to succeed past the sale.
Wow, so many different other things to think about that maybe people don't connect with a realtor, right? You're really covering a lot more part of the transaction, as you said. So renovating over 15 properties is no small feat. So what's the biggest lesson that you've learned from transforming homes?
Don't get tied up in trends. My father was very smart with me. He always said, do the color and the trend. And he was a simple man. He loved white, so much white. But do the color in the paint. Paint's the cheapest. Don't do the fancy tile. Don't do, the bold cabinetry. Do it in paint, something that's easy to swap out. And so, although I love pattern, I tend to tie in a lot of pattern. And I got to be very careful that we stick with classics or be prepared to rip it out on resale.
Great tips there. Actually, great tips there. And so, so bringing in your passion for design, that must be better for the client to have a little bit of help on what's going to happen moving forward from the transaction. Do you get involved in that side of it as well?
Yeah, I did estimation for design for big companies like Home Depot, and allowing to see the kind of cost advantages and knowing building code, what would happen where and what that pricing might look like, of course, depending on their choices. But I think that it really does help guide them in the envisioning process. And I often have like a thing, especially we're walking in and the place needs work. It's an equity gainer. They're going to make money. And we talk about how much money they're going to make over the cost of ownership. And the gain is here, but it takes the work. And I often ask them to close their eyes, open their eyes, and then I verbally paint the picture for them. And it tends to help get them through that rough spot. And then if I tell them, you're probably going to sell for another 10, 20% more after you put in the hard work. And that tends to be some motivation, especially for young couples.
Love that.
Yeah.
And also you emphasize that lifestyle and location go hand in hand. So how do you help clients find the perfect balance between the two?
Well, I think it's the lifestyle begins with the location. And for me, I'm an avid outdoors woman and I love being outside and being on the lakes and the mountains. So that's why I relocated. I didn't grow up here. And so I often ask them, what are you looking for? Let's make sure that the idealistic life you want is actually where we're at. So we've got farmers markets. Is healthy food important for you? Or do you want movie theaters? Because we don't have movie theaters. What does your daily events look like? Are you an indoor cat or an outdoor cat?
Well, that's what I mean. Well, you've just shared some of it. We've got lakes, and what are the selling points of people moving into your area? Should we start? How long have you got?
The interior British Columbia, especially the Shuswap region, is in the boreal rainforest. So we have lots of water, lots of moisture, hot summers, big lake lifestyle. We have these big 2-3 tier houseboats people rent, and they're out on the water for days, very vacation oriented, amazing snowfall, and lots of skiing and other outdoor activities, just beaches, lots of yoga, golf courses, world-class fishing and hunting. And then, of course, the small town, no traffic. Can you imagine no traffic? Like zero.
No, I come from London. So I absolutely cannot imagine.
You can walk to the grocery store. We have the dairy is right in town. The ranchers right down the road. You actually get to meet the farmers, the ranchers, all your organic food, very holistic living, very healthy living, very simple living, however. And so if you
Wow.
like a lot of museums and drama and all of that, that's how I travel. My vacations is to get my cultural fill. Well, here is for that simple small town life.
Wonderful. So for you, British Columbia, how was it last year? I mean, everybody in the States, at least, found last year a little bit different to the previous years. How has it been for you? How many sort of transactions wise do you tend to do in a year? And was last year any different for you?
Last year I had a small dip by about two
Oh,
transactions, actually.
oh.
I'm quite lucky. I think depending where you were in Canada, the larger centers definitely had a larger stall. We had a larger stall over the summer where we didn't see a lot of buyer activity. And that was a lot due to the publications of interest rates are coming down, wait. A lot of the media was telling people to
Mm-hmm.
wait to buy for this interest rate drop. And I honestly, I always say, you know what, right now we have so much inventory, you can renegotiate that mortgage later. You have more choice now. You can get your home now for $50,000 less. That's a lot less in interest that you're not going to be able to make up. So for me, I was the buyers that were educated and that understood that we could renegotiate later. We did very well.
Ah, well, there you go. Again, another tip because you were able to educate them on, what the difference would be. That's why you didn't do so bad. So well done. And
Yeah.
and so what's next? What's next for Jessica? What are your goals for this year?
Oh my gosh. So I'm opening up my second branch this year in the next neighboring town of Salmon Arm. And we're going to be bringing a very collaborative, community based style of real estate. I'm with eXp Realty. And for me, that's my home where my heart lies. And I think bringing it to the area is going to really help a lot of realtors realize that technology makes your life so simple. And
Oh my
being around
goodness.
supportive and uplifting people every day makes your day so much better. And getting out
Mm.
of that competitive dog eat dog real estate stuff, that's old news. Those dinosaurs, they're going to be gone soon. We have a whole new breed of real estate.
Love that. And so what advice would you have for anybody that's venturing into the world of real estate right now?
Find your people. Definitely.
Mm.
Find your people, keep learning. Don't discard any of the skills that you're bringing forward. That is going to help give you the building blocks you need to be a successful professional. Everything we do builds towards our future success.
And where do you see things going? Sort of what trends do you see moving forward sort of from this year?
Well, I definitely think there's more cloud-based brokerages are going to start to happen. Definitely with realtors moving to less overhead, not having giant brokerage fees, paying a couple $100 versus a couple thousand a month. I think that'll allow businesses to be more streamlined, getting more comfortable with technology. I think that's going to be a big thing. Podcasts like yourself and getting your name out there, really very helpful, and kind of dropping the ego out of it. I think is where a lot of
Mm,
realtors now they're realizing, the ones with ego, people aren't drawn to that. People actually want the helpers. They want the
yeah.
genuine helpers now, and it's our time to shine as helpers with a strong sense of leadership and to give the public that so that they can feel solid about their decisions. You want that so much because that in turn is your business going forward, and having a strong reputation and integrity, adaptability, and grit is how you're going to succeed.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, couldn't agree more. So finally, look, here at Icons, we're not just a podcast. We are the number one real estate podcast network
Yes, you
globally,
are.
and we're passionate about making podcasting accessible to everybody involved in the business of real estate. Because, like you said, it's your opportunity to show up as your authentic self. It's more real, it's more raw. So look, Jessica, if you had your own podcast, what do you think you'd call it?
I've got two good names, definitely. My first would be Not Perfect, Perfecting, as I believe we continue to grow. And the other one would be I'm a part of the Fall Down and Get Back Up Club.
Ah, brilliant. Oh, so one sounds like one would be aimed at realtors, maybe. Yeah, so fantastic. And finally, look, if anybody's looking to buy or sell in British Columbia, or are you looking to actually actively recruit agents?
Absolutely. Yep. That is my goal,
Awesome.
is to help realtors that want to revamp their business, grow their business, or other professionals that want to shift gears and get into a new career.
Oh, so for the listeners, how do they reach you? Where do they find you?
Well, you can find me at jessicaklikach.com, and my last name is Klikach, or you can just call me directly, and I'm also on all social media platforms.
Fantastic. And Jessica's details will be in the show notes. So reach out to Jessica. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been lovely speaking with you. And I love your approach to it all. And yes, wishing you all the best for this coming year. And to the listeners, I'll be back next time with the Icons of Real Estate. Bye for now.